Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Little Witch Nobeta's early access version. Little Witch Nobeta is essentially lowly Dark Souls. The story, like many Souls-like games, is relatively vague, especially considering that this one isn't complete yet. But what we do know is Nobeta is from some type of very powerful family, but she doesn't know anything about it. And she's returned to a very large castle, which is presumably where the Nobeta throne is. She knows that she needs to reach the throne room and that a cute little black cat is supposed to help her get there. She doesn't know why or what exactly her lineage is involved in, but she has to go through the castle to get the answers. The castle is, of course, fraught with danger. There are tons of powerful enemies there, including peculiar enemies called crafted souls, which are dolls that appear to have the ability to move independently and can attack anybody that they see. On rare occasion, Nobeta finds crafted souls that have true consciousness, that can think, speak, and act independently, almost to the point where they could be mistaken as a normal human. They are, however, just crafted souls, and they cannot maintain this consciousness for long. They often have to subdue other creatures with consciousness to maintain their own. Nobeta is, of course, forced to battle these as bosses.
Now that we done got that out the way.
Gameplay-wise, this game is still a Souls-like game. Instead of bonfires, you have goddess statues. Goddess statues can be used to heal, they can also be used to level up your character, and they can be used as a merchant. Whenever you use one, though, it will save the game, and all non-boss enemies will resurrect. Goddess statues are also where you will respawn if you die. Now, the combat, on the other hand, is a little different because, contrary to what you would expect, this is, in an abstract sense, an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter.
What? What the fuck?
There are 4 types of elemental magic that you can use in the game. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, you aim and shoot at the enemies. If you run out of mana, you can melee attack them to recover some of your mana for each successful hit. However, you have to be right in front of the enemy to do that, so there's an aspect of danger associated. And because it's a Souls-like game, yes, there is a dodge button, and if you do dodge an attack right before you would be hit, you generate some mana immediately after successfully dodging the attack. So, timing your dodge is very important. You also have a stamina bar. You use stamina to dodge attacks, but you also use it to sprint. If you run out of stamina, you'll trip and fall over and be completely defenseless for a few seconds. Your starting magic is going to be arcane magic. It has average firing rate, average damage, and average range. But if you charge it up all the way, you can use a super move, which is basically... It fires a linear missile that pierces and can hit multiple enemies in a row, and it, of course, does a whole lot more damage than one individual shot of arcane magic. Later on, you also get ice magic. Ice magic is your submachine gun. It has a high fire rate, but it doesn't do as much damage per hit. Has about the same range as arcane magic, to be honest, if not a little shorter. And the super move that you can use from it is basically Farah's...
Justice reigns from above!
Now, another fun fact about ice magic is when it's fully charged, you produce an aura that gives you super armor and makes you immune to fire damage, which is pretty important for specific parts of the game. Eventually, you'll get access to fire magic. This is the shotgun. It doesn't have good range, it takes a lot more mana per shot, and it has a pretty low fire rate, but the amount of damage it deals is done in a burst fire fashion. If all of the burst connects on one enemy, it does a huge chunk of damage in one hit. If it hits near the enemy's head or hits them in the head, it can instantly kill them relatively quickly, even if they're at full health. Now, the supercharge attack is, well, I'll let Megumin explain it. I would like to mention that the explosion from fire magic can damage you as well, and there is apparently an achievement that I found out the hard way you get for killing yourself with it. Now, the damage it does is enormous, and it can hit multiple enemies because it's an AoE attack. Also, while your fire magic is supercharged all the way, you produce an aura that makes your melee attacks do more damage. This is actually pretty helpful if you want to invest heavily into your strength stat. Eventually you get to the bonus stage, and if you beat it, you'll get access to lightning magic. Lightning magic is your sniper rifle. It has a lot of range and does a ridiculous amount of damage, but has a terrible fire rate. However, the amount of damage it does is so high that you can dispatch common mobs in a single hit even if you don't hit their weak spot. Aim center mass and it's pretty much their ass.
Bars.
Now that being said, if you charge up lightning magic, it not only produces a really unique aura that makes it to where you move at normal speed but all of the enemies move slower, but it allows you to call a lightning strike on a specific area that you designate. And yes, this can team damage you, but when you do it, it hits like a truck.
Magic lightning!
Speaking of slowing the enemies down, this is particularly helpful for triggering counter magic. Counter magic is the parry system. If you launch a melee attack right before the enemy would hit you, you produce a powerful circle that not only generates health and mana very quickly, but it pushes the enemies away from you. Timing this is difficult, but well worth the payoff. And lastly, there's wind magic. This is just the double jump, but after you level it up by getting additional copies of the tome for it, you can dodge while you're in the middle of the air and stuff like that, so that's actually pretty important, and yes, you need wind magic to complete the game. Now, as it currently exists, this is just an early access version and not the finished product. They plan to have the game finished in 2021, and they do apparently have a Patreon up if you want to support them. The early access version is only $10. And the game is pretty well polished so far. They plan to add at least 3 more levels to the game when they make the finished version, so it'll have a total of 6. I think the gameplay is pretty good. The combination of shooter-style games and Souls-like is something pretty neat. Remnant has done something similar to this already, but this is an anime-style version of it, so it's just, you know, a cuter version of that. And I do like the fact that, unlike many Souls-like games, this does have a difficulty adjustment. You can play the game in standard difficulty or advanced difficulty, which, as someone who's played it on advanced difficulty, I can tell you, there is a noticeable difference. Unfortunately for all the game journalists out there, there's no easy mode as far as I'm aware. I mean, we all remember this, right? We all remember when Dean Takahashi got stuck on the tutorial in Cuphead, right? Hate to tell you guys this, but there will be no easy mode in Little Witch Nobeta. There's standard or there's hard mode. There is no easy mode. Get over it. That all removed, should you buy Little Witch Nobeta? Yes. But more specifically, if you like anime-style games, you should give this game a chance. It's not as punishing as some of the other Dark Souls games until you get to just Monica. Other than that, it's pretty easy to learn. It might be a little difficult at first, but once you get your muscle memory, it's not that bad. If you like Soul-like games already, then definitely pick this up. It's only $10 on Steam, and it's pretty fun. If you like any games that are third-person shooters, but you want to try something a little different, I would also strongly recommend this game. Overall, I think that this game is well worth $10, and here's the best part. The developers have stated that anybody who bought the game when it was in early access will get $10 off the full game when it is inevitably released, which means you're basically paying for it now to try it, and then when it comes out completed, you'll already have that part deducted from your total. So that's pretty cool. They're not making you buy the game twice, unlike some people when the PS5 to Xbox Series X transition began.
Shut up and take my money!
That being said, thank you for watching. Give me some feedback and have a good one. Oh, and I know that I mentioned Monica in this review quite a bit. Trust me, Monica is not an easy boss. You will die. That is the Smoen Ornstein of this game. I would even go as far as to say that the bonus stage boss was a joke by comparison.